Okay, how about this morning as U.S. defense officials are considering a new strategy to deter Russian aggression in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East. The plan involves something we haven't seen for a while, sending more troops to Europe to boost American presence on the continent. They've already stepped up training exercises. We saw the parachuting exercise last week in a piece here on this program in case of a showdown with Moscow on the continent. Talk about rewinding, folks. Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters is a Fox News strategic analyst, and he joins us now. Colonel, welcome. Good morning. Always good to have you with us. So I'm reading this morning, and I'm hearing about, the generals saying that we need to beef up our presence in Europe. You never know when Russia's going to come, sort of marching across the continent. I thought it reminded me of that moment between the debates with Barack Obama and Mitt Romney. They're calling for their foreign policy back. Now we're going all the way back to the 1940s, it appears.
Yeah, I just about expect to be called back to active duty. I spent so much time over there. But seriously, the idea of rotating brigades, now a brigade, depending on the package, it's 3,500, 4,000, 4,500 people. Rotating them in to show the flag is a good step, but it's only one step in a long, long climb back to real U.S. ground force capability in Europe. Because, Martha, we have the same American pattern over and over again. After wars or after something like the Cold War, we cut too deeply, and now we've gone from almost 500,000 troops in Germany and Europe at the height of our involvement in the Cold War, to now we've got fewer than 70,000, and that includes Marines, Navy, Air Force scattered all over the continent, multiple missions. It's not as many as it sounds. So sending back these brigades on training missions, basically deployments, great idea, but that doesn't mean you have combat capability there. We've dismantled the infrastructure you need. See, it's not just about the people and the guns. It's about having the spare parts, the mechanics, the food, the fuel, the Band-Aids and all that, and we've just torn all that apart. So great first step, long way to go. As a minimum, we should have a full division in Poland.
Let's take a look at this quote from General Breedlove that came out in a Wall Street Journal story this morning. The Russian Navy is not going to stand by and watch us reinforce Europe in the event of a confrontation. For 2 decades, we haven't thought about the fact that we're going to have to fight our way across the Atlantic first. I just find it so striking. We had the fall of the Berlin Wall, we had the fall of the Soviet Union, and we talked so much about the fact that, military confrontation would never be quite the same. And now here we are preparing for a military confrontation that would be quite the same, Colonel Peters. And I just wonder what policy missteps have led to the fact that we find ourselves back again in this situation.
Martha, when I was working in the Pentagon, the Deputy Chief of Staff for Intelligence offices, my nickname was the Prince of Darkness, because in the euphoria after the fall of the wall, I kept telling people, look, great, this is wonderful, but Russians are still Russians. The historical patterns are still there. And General Breedlove, this guy is a hero. I'm stunned that we still have a general willing to speak so honestly and frankly about pressing strategic problems. He's absolutely right. Russia is looking at how to sever the United States from Europe in peace and in war. And you can't fly everybody in all of a sudden. And so the idea that we would have to ship divisions over by sea in a crisis, we've just cut too low. Now, I'm not for vast, endless military spending, but those troops in Europe, some of them had a real purpose, and the one thing that can deter Putin, well, there are two things. The first thing, give arms to the Ukrainians. Take the initiative. If you're unwilling to do that, get European ground forces with real capabilities in Eastern Europe to prevent war, be strong in peacetime. That's the only thing that can possibly work.
It's amazing. All these years of, having our people in Iraq and Afghanistan and being told that the decade of war was over. And now you're going to hear about our soldiers, our military, being positioned back in Europe to face the next threat that is growing there. It's pretty incredible. Colonel Peters, thank you very much. Good to see you this morning, sir.